All right, it has been about 1 year since I've made any kind of long form video update on Project Hellstang. So I wasn't even going to film this, but I figured I might as well just bring you guys with me a little bit and kind of let you know what's been going on for the past year. Now I have made some little updates, some shorts, videos and stuff where you guys can see me driving. You can see the car's been driving now for the past year. But recently I did have an issue. I was driving back from Home Depot and I noticed that I started smelling some coolant. The car started to get hot. The car ended up shutting off on me. And it turns out after I had to get the thing towed home that the issue was the lower radiator hose was probably just over the last 1,000 miles or so. It's too close to the turbo crossover. And so it ended up getting a gash in the hose. It ended up blowing up, about this long of a gash. So I've got to replace the lower radiator hose. And the solution that I've got is that we're going to take the hose, and I think the cut, this is a brand new hose. The cut is somewhere around right here. So my thought is maybe we can kind of cut, from here to here and replace it with a section of tubing. And I bought 3 different kinds of tube because I wasn't sure exactly what we needed, but this one's got the little dimples. This would be nice. I just wasn't sure if this was quite long enough. So I think this is a 12-incher. So obviously that might be overkill. And then I wasn't sure if we needed straight or whatever. So I also got one that's got a little angle to it. So I don't know, that could actually, looks like that could even work maybe too. So anyway, we're going to see. I'm going to get the old hose out, kind of see what we got going on. But so you can see what I did right now. And so it's really this turbo crossover down there. And so you can't tell, but on the back side of the blue hose here is where we have this hole. And so what I did now, before I pull this all off, is I put a yellow paint mark right here and a yellow paint mark there. Just that way when I get this hose off, I know that that's oriented, up, straight up in the air. So if I do decide to make some cuts and get this all kind of fitted up, I want to get it almost perfect so I can just pop it back in. The other thing I had to buy is some clamps. Since we're going to put this piece of metal in there, we needed some additional clamps. So I got some 1 3/4-inch T-bolt clamps. So hopefully these will work too. And yeah, we can get it all thrown together. I also noticed that over the past, year of driving this thing, we are actually missing some header bolts. So our turbo manifold bolts on each end. So I don't know if you can see, but that bolt's gone. It's gone on the other side. And then one of these bolts in here was actually loose. So that's not good. And they're missing on both sides. So I ended up getting some more expensive ARP hardware, except this time instead of the 6-point hexes, I went with some 12-point hexes. And I think that's going to allow me to get a little bit more torque on these turbo headers and hopefully keep these things from coming off. But it's a good point to make sure you keep checking these. I have not checked them at all, and I've probably put 1,000 miles on it. So obviously that was a bad call. So we need to get those torqued down too. All right, so we've got our hose out of here. Now you can see where this was coming just too close to that turbo crossover, and that caused it to get hot, and then it ruptured and split, right, with pressure. So I'm still not sure if I might just cut this and try to reuse this hose and just kind of save this one, throw it in the trunk as a backup. But I might actually just use this for mock-up and kind of see. So one thing I noticed is I already cut probably 1 inch or 1.5 inches off the end of this hose already when I first put it on. And so the way this is oriented is like this. And so I cut that bottom part off just so that it would suck in closer this way and provide more room on this backside to that turbo crossover. And, again, this lasted, 800 to 1,000 miles probably, but obviously it was still too close, right? It's causing some issues. So one thing we could do, I could cut this probably more and then be able to slide it further. That would help. Or I think that if we look at the back of this here, as far as the length of what this is messed up, this would probably just about fit it. I like this pipe because it's got the little curved edges on it, so that'll help with any leakage. But I've used straight pipe before, aluminum, and not had any issues. I think this is probably, overkill. It's not going to work, so we'll return that. This one looks like it has some promise where I was kind of mocking it up, and, it's got some of that same angle, right? So we almost might just need like this little piece and then kind of this upper piece. And this might be the ticket. So we might end up using this. That way I can stick a lot of this over it, and clamp it up, and it should seal pretty well. So anyway, I'm going to play with it and let's see what we got. All right, so ultimately I ended up really having to chop down this factory hose, right? So this is an OEM hose. Now you can see, I mean, we took quite a lot off on all sides, right? And also keep in mind, I was thinking about this. So my engine is actually lowered, I think 3/4 of an inch with some drop mounts. I think 3/4 of an inch. It could be 1.25 inches. I forget, but if you think about that, it drops it down. And so actually you'd have kind of even more hose, you know, kind of hanging there, sagging, right? Because of the location of the radiator didn't change. So that was part of the reason why originally too, I had to cut off, I think, like this much of that bottom part of the radiator hose where it goes into the radiator to help pull that away. But anyway, ultimately, we're just kind of using the stock hose now as almost like a coupler, right? And we just got this thing. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it fitted in the car. All right, so here's what we got underneath the car with this hose. So I've just got to put a clamp here still, and then my clamp way up there. But you can see now we've got quite a bit of clearance. So when I first took this original rubber hose off, we had about 1 finger between clearance. Now we got, at least 2, almost, about 2 or so. So we got double the clearance, plus this is a metal pipe, obviously, so we shouldn't have any rupturing that's gonna happen. Like we did before, we'll just have to watch it, make sure this thing's not getting, you know, overheated by the exhaust. Now you can see one issue too is this this little heat shield blanket's kind of come off. So I need to get a clamp for that, or I'll just order a whole new set. Maybe we'll just wrap it even a little bit higher up too. And just so that'll help a little bit more. So yeah, so we're good. Now I'm just gonna get some clamps on and this part of the job's done. And here's just one more look from up top. So again, you can see where we've got our little aluminum deal and then our piece of hose. Now this is also similar, if you guys remember when I put the car together last year, we also had to do a similar thing for this upper radiator hose, right? So actually it's almost like the same thing. There's a little piece of 45-degree tubing, and again, that does not have any dimples on each end, just got the T-bolt clamps, and that's held up just fine, no leaks or anything like that. So I'm hoping we'll have the same luck over here. All right, moving along here. So these ARP header bolts, again, these are for Ford. 100-1210 is the part number, so this is the 12-point socket size. So I gotta figure out what socket size. I think these are standard thread, not metric, so go find out, start jamming these things in there. Correction, 8mm. So 12-point, 8mm fits perfect. So this is cool. I don't know why I didn't go with 12-point to begin with, so this should let us get some more torque on these bolts and get them in there, because it is, especially like this bolt over by this AC compressor crap, that's going to be tight. You know, that corner one should be pretty easy. I think the other side's even easier. I think this is the hardest side. So anyway, let's get these jammed in, and then we can get some coolant and fire this thing up, see if it still starts. All right, so we got this baby all fired up and sounded pretty good. We're about to go for a little cruise. Now you can hear it's still got a little bit of an exhaust leak where this like downpipe that comes into, I don't know, some little section there. It's like got like a clamp. So that's not great, but everything else like up front sounds pretty good. Better than it did. Sounds good from the back. So yeah, we got some antifreeze put in there. Probably got to burp it, you know, let it get hot, and we'll burp it and stuff. But we're just gonna go for a quick little cruise so that we can do that and get this baby going. And we got 2 more days to the Woodward Dream Cruise, boys.